Sponsors 10-year tip with Gary Dibley.
Whoa, we made it. Good evening, it is a Monday night, it is 9 o'clock and it is time to tin your tip with myself, Gary Dibley, and the ever-capable mod master that is Mark. If you're watching this on the replay, nothing happened. If you are watching this live, I do apologise. The Gremlins decided to kick in right at the last moment. God only knows why. Coming to you on the Monday night, the eve before Tuesday the 12th, where quite a few people will be gathering in London for the E6 Summit. I'm going down, Mr. Dorm's going down, Sav's going down, Mark is going down, and so is Sav. If I missed anybody, I apologise. But it's going to be a good chance to meet a few people as well. Believe it or not, I have never ever met my co-pilot on this show, Mark, and tomorrow is going to be the first time I'm going to meet Mark. So I may take the camera and hopefully do something sort of behind the scenesy type stuff during one of our little breaks that we may well have. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I've got to nip off a little bit before the end because I've got a prior engagement I have to attend. Got lots lined up tonight. I've got a new toy, a new board that I've been playing with. I'll leave my thoughts till the end. I'll let you make your minds up to see how they go. We're going to kick off with Mark. We've got lots to get through tonight. Mark is going to be making us a very nice mod stand. I'll catch you back in 2.
This week I intend to have a go at making a display stand for, well, primarily it's going to be for tube type mods. And it's going to consist of 3 main components. I have the base, which I'm going to be making out of half a sheet of A5 mirrored perspex. It's 3mm thick, and I've marked it out halfway along the longest length. So it's going to be one section of this, so 75mm lengthwise, depthwise, and for the top section it's going to be made out of 3mm clear perspex, again an A5 sheet, but I'm planning on making it 50mm deep at the top section, and it's going to have 5 holes drilled in it to hold mods. These will be 24mm holes, so it should take most mods with the design I've got in mind. And with what I'm planning, this is going to be more decorative display stand rather than a functional stand. So it's going to be something to show them off rather than just to hold them. And this design will, well, they look, take things like the GG style with the button sticking out at the bottom of the base. We'll see how we go. So what I've measured out is 1 centimeter in from the end and 1.5 in from each side. I've marked out a position for a hole there, there, and one right in the middle there. And they will be for 4mm perspex rods. These are 100mm long, so there'll be one at each position. This will go through this and through the base to hold the top up, but that will come later. And I'll need to cut this off, but I'm not going to cut it off yet, because the first thing I need to do with this is to drill the holes. Because these are 24mm holes, they're not easy to drill. You'll see, to get to the final stage of drilling, it's going to be this size hole. That is rather large and rather difficult to cut into this perspex. So I'm going to use the sheet hole to cut it, to drill it out, and then cut it after I've drilled them. But to start off, I'll be using a pilot drill, of course. Now these, I've measured out that it'll take 5 in the space I've got, leaving enough room between them without it splitting, hopefully. We're going to see. Fingers crossed. Here we go. first. That's the pilot holes drilled. I'm deliberately not drilling these holes until much later on because I need to line up this sheet with the base sheet and drill directly through the holes. Directly the hole through the two sheets to make sure it all lines up. Hope that makes sense. So I'm going to start off with a slightly bigger drill bit. And as you might be able to notice, I've broken one of the main rules of modding. Let's always make sure your rechargeable drill is charged before you start on something like this. I think I'm probably okay to finish these off at this size. I have to charge it between. And I've got enough drilled out there so I can move up to the next drill bit, but I'll do that when I come back after the drill's charged.
Right, and we're back for another week. Hopefully might be a little bit better lit this week. Invested in some new little lights and a sort of photo studio box thing. Main reason, I've been playing on the lathe again, as you can see. Don't get your knuckle too close to a revolving chuck, it hurts. Yes, I've been playing, I've been making some things, and this is my first pen. Nothing to do with vaping. As you know, I make the drip tips, but I had a bash at a pen. Really happy with that. It was painful, but good. I'm going to have a crack at another one a little bit later on today. Coming kit form, sort of like that, and you have to do your acrylic bits. Happy days. What we're going to talk about today, I've noticed, and I did pick this particular board up from somebody talking about it on the UK Vapors modding section. Normally, myself and Mark use this type of board. We've all seen them, we know what they are, and used quite a bit. The only problem with those, as we have found, is they are rather large. For example, if we stick a tin in here, but we usually do a tin mod with, by the time you've got your battery things in and all that, that is quite a chunk, quite a size to locate in your tin. Hopefully we may have something that's going to make that ever so slightly easier, he says, We don't know. I've literally got a couple for testing. This is our standard one, and I say they're quite relatively small. They're not sort of grossly, you know, oversized, but this package landed, and I haven't opened any yet. I haven't tested any yet. I haven't looked at any yet. Look at this. Apparently, he says, apparently, this board is built to exactly the same specification as this board. Look at the size of it. Look at my finger. It's if it works, this is very, 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 very usable. The voltage adjustment on this, so it looks like it could be an absolute pain in the bum. Now I'm not sure how far I can get down on there. Round about there. You see that little tiny screw there? That's your voltage adjustment. Now, at this moment in time, I do not hold out much hope for this board at all. But essentially, it's built to the same spec, or on paper, it is the same spec as this board here. Whether something, yeah, well, you say whether something that small could actually perform, but as we all know, some of the you know, some of the boards that fit into, for example, you know, the lava tube, exactly the same sort of size. So must be able to do it. Must be able to do it. Now this is again the same spec as this. So this is a step down board. So you've got to have your batteries stacked up into the board, and then you have an output for your voltage, and that is very, very clearly marked up on there. In plus, in minus, out plus and minus. So it is all well and truly marked up. What we're going to do is get one of these rigged up and run it through some tests. I've got a little voltmeter. I thought rather than actually testing it, you know, I can test this out of the board with a meter and this, that, and the other. I want to put it under a bit of load. I want to attach an ATI to it. I want to see how it performs and see, you know, what sort of voltage this can handle, put out and maintain, and see what the drop off is. If it works, it's a very nice little board. Now I'm sure a load of people are going to be asking where you get this from. I picked it up on eBay. It's same. Search sort of for step down boards, DC to DC step down boards, and a whole array will appear. As for the model of this, yeah, I've just got Chinese writing on my packet. I'll see if I can grab a link. I'm gonna pop away. I'm gonna get this, start getting some bits together so we can start soldering this board up, and we'll see what happens. Pop back into.
So why can't I say something to change this situation? Well, no great words of wisdom springing to my mind. What have I done to deserve this aggravation? No, I never said I'm perfect. If I did, it was a lie. Meet me halfway. Do I have to get a stick so you can beat me once again? Meet me halfway. 'Cause you're not fair. 'Cause I've tried so hard to get to know you, but you're not giving anything away. I've tried every trick in the book to try to break you down, but I stand defeated. I hold my hands up now, you beat me hands down, yeah. So why do you use me to vent all your frustrations? Yeah, why does everything that I say have to be a lie? And why are you so deeply into confrontations? 'Cause I'm not going nowhere, and you'll miss me when I die. Meet me halfway. Do I have to get a stick so you can beat me once again? Meet me halfway. 'Cause you're not fair. 'Cause I've tried so hard to get to know you, but you're not giving anything away. I've tried every trick in the book to try to break you down, but I stand defeated. I hold my hands up now, you beat me hands down. No, no. Another day, another dollar. You do the leading, I'll just follow. And we'll do the same thing tomorrow.
Liberty Flight sponsors 10-Year Tip with Gary Dibley. iViber and iViber Elixir, based in Yorkshire, for your e-cig needs. That's iViber.co.uk and iViber-elixir.co.uk. iViber and iViber-elixir.co.uk, proud sponsors of ViberTrails.tv. Liberty Flight sponsors 10-Year Tip with Gary Dibley.
And good evening, we're back in the room once again. Yeah, blatant plug for the Children in Need raffle auction live draw here on Monday the 2nd of December. I do have some more stuff I haven't added to that video yet. I've got a wonderful couple of pieces from Kerfanis. I can't say that. Absolutely fantastic pipe mod. I'll be filming that. And he also sent me one of his new little tanks, which apparently, yeah, he's lost the camera, sits perfectly on a Pravari, which we also happen to have in said raffle, so I'll be teaming those two together. I've also had some juice through from Archangel Vapor. I've had a Lambo 4 through. I've had some stuff from Healthy Vape. Loads of stuff is still coming through. With all that said, yes, get yourself over to UK Vapors in the charity and thingy section. There's links there how to join the raffle. With all that stuff out the way, let's crack on with Mark's little bit. If you're worried, if you want a link to this board that I'm talking about, hold out before you rush off and buy one. Let me show you exactly what I think of it, exactly what the shortcomings of it are, and this and the other before you dash out and buy one now. If you're happy, at the end of the show, Mark's going to post a link up for you. If you're watching this on the replay, we'll try and get something on the forum for you. Let's crack on with Mark's little bit of his very elegant mod stand.
So I'm back and the drill's all charged up, so I'll carry on where I left off. So that's that one out, that's maximum. Now it's time to move on to the big one, and this is where it starts to get risky. Because a drill bit this size in a drill this size is not the best way. It should really be with a drill press, but you can't afford a drill press, so a hand drill it is. I just need to be very careful when you start moving out to the 24 size. That's when the risk of the perspex cracking really gets bad. So I think I say it's not so easy at the bigger size. And there's a real danger of the drill stalling, which you really want to avoid if possible. But I think with a hand drill it's 24 mils probably the limit you really want to go to. I've gone higher, I've gone as far as 30 mil with these and had real problems, but 24 is doable, let's say. So carry on. Well, that is the hard part and the, I shall say, the risky part done. It's now mostly going to be a matter of cutting out the sections that I need. I'll be back when I've cleaned up and ready to start doing that. Now I've got the holes drilled successfully, I need to cut off the two sections. So that's a straight cut along here for this one and right down the middle for this one. You may be wondering why the base is so much wider than the top section is going to be. That'll become clear after I've got these cut apart. I'm keeping that as a bit of a surprise, I think. So on with the cutting. So that's one section done, and I'll pop back when I've got the other one done. It's obviously going to need a lot of sanding off to clean off the edge, but apart from that, we're almost there.
Right, so I've got my board. I'm just going to I'm going to build this outside of the mod. So it's sort of now, see this being a fiddly little bugger, tiny little blobs of solder on the ends. Should have cleaned these tracks first, and some on the outs. So I thought I don't really want to build this into a box or a tin or whatever until I've actually tested it outside. So we're going to build it on the bench. Now, where are my outs? So my outs are there, and this is my out. Pause. Help if I tin my wire up properly, wouldn't it? It's that tiny, the wire's dragging it. That's how tiny these little things are. And I'm just going to tin up and attach the neg. It'll probably go flying off the bench now. But a lot of promise for this particular board, if it does what it says it can do. So there's my outputs. Now, building it on the bench, I just need an input source, and for now I'm just going to use a 218-650 holder. I'll trim that down. Yeah, now we'll leave it. What I normally do when we're linking these up, I'm going to do exactly the same scenario. I'm going to come out via a switch. So I'll just snip the neg back, and let me just tin one end of that up. I'll just use the existing wires that are on this board for the moment. I'm just tinning up a little sort of link wire that's going to go into my input negative on the board. And then I'll just trim back the wire on here on the neg, because that's going to take as far as switch. Clip that back a bit too much. So just tin that wire up. And I'll just bring in this here. I'm going to just pop the cutters down on there to hold that, because it's floating around all over the place. Let's get our neg wire on. Like I say, if these do work, it's going to be good, he says. Just snip back my pos and my neg that are going to go out to my ETI, because I need some of the pos wire. And I'm just tinning up the pos input on the battery holder. So as you can see, what I've got is I've got my pos literally is going straight onto the board, straight onto the input of the board. My neg I've trimmed back a bit because I'm going to put a switch in line on the neg side of that. And these they're very, very, very tiny boards. I keep saying it. I was shocked when they arrived just how small they were. And like I say, if it does work, there's lots of possibilities for these going forwards. But obviously, if I can prove it now outside of a box, then I can get it in a box. You know, it's going to be a damn sight easier. I'm just literally working on a switch so my neg can go via the switch, the input on here. I'm not going to show you the process of probably building it into a tin or something, because we've done that so many times before. This is more about a new board, a new product, something that will, it's not going to revolutionise modding, but it'll make a lot more things possible. So we've got our switch neg on the input of the board, running through to our output that's going to go up to our ATI connection. And again, it's a simple case now of trimming these back, and what I'm going to do is put our display in line with that two together. Again, this is all about seeing whether this will actually work. I'm actually quite excited, because if it does, it makes putting these things in boxes and tins, I'm having trouble trimming today, makes putting these in boxes and tins a damn sight easier. All fingers and thumbs today. I think I've got so much I actually want to be doing today. Let me just twist up these wires here, the positives together, and I'll just give those a little sort of solder. Yeah, I put a lot of wire on there, but you can trim that back once it's done. And I'll just do my negs. So effectively we've got our voltage display in line with the ATI, so it'll tell us what it's doing at the business end. So effectively, there is our board rigged up as we would any other board. We have our battery, 28650s, switching the negative into the board, POS running straight through onto the input of the board, and then we've literally got our outputs of the boards twizzed up together here. They're going to go onto our ATI, and here's our display to see what is actually happening at the other end. I'm going to pop away, I'll get an ATI soldered on, we'll come back and we'll run it through some paces and see where we go with it. Back into. And there we go, we are back in the room once again. Yes, does it work? I suppose is going to be the question. We will see coming up in part 2. I need to reach over for the ads now. Pop back into.
Liberty Flight sponsors 10-year tip with Gary Dibley. Liberty Flight sponsors 10-year tip with Gary Dibley.
And we are back in the room once again. I must say a very, very, very quick thank you to a few people. Mark Shaw, he sort of mailed me and said, do you want a load of dead stuff? And I said, yes please. So he sent us an absolute bag of of dead egos and bits and pieces, and there's some ego twisty bits in there and all that sort of stuff that I'm sure we can sort of dissect going forwards. We've also had lots of stuff come in, and since I meet you, Mark, tomorrow, I'm going to be taking him a bag full of bits. Now, Mark has never seen this before, and you may recall this for other reasons, but I've got a little one of these I should be giving Mark tomorrow to play with, and we've got lots of other stuff, stuff like this, and this stuff that people have been sending, particularly vendors who have a load of dead kit, and they've sent it to us to play with, and lava tubes and all that sort of stuff, which is absolutely brilliant. It gives us a load of sort of material to play with going forwards, and I'm sure, hopefully, with the addition of this board to our arsenal, there is going to be another twist coming up very soon to Tin Your Tip. Let's crack on with Mark's next little section of his final bit of building the mod stand, and that was my chair, by the way, and I missed a button.
So I've cleaned up and I've sanded off the two front edges that I cut, just roughly at the moment, because they will need some more sanding later, which you'll see. But for now, I've clamped the two pieces together so I can drill the 3 holes for the uprights, and I really don't want this moving while I'm drilling these. So pilot hole first, of course. Those successfully drilled. So I need to move up I'm going to use this step drill bit, and the first section on this is 4mm, which is the size I need. And I think, well, I haven't measured it, yes, 4mm will fit all the way through, so I can drill this all in one go, which hopefully means it'll definitely line up when I'm finished. And that's basically what hole's done. So with the rods in place, that should give you a rough idea of what we're going for. But at the beginning I said that this was going to be capable of taking mods with side switches at the bottom, either the GG, things like that, and obviously a round hole won't do that. So what I'm intending to do now is to run the Dremel blade along this line, which is 1 centimeter in, which I'd previously marked out, and cut all of this front section off in one piece, and then this part will go on the back, and this part will be glued to the base to give you somewhere to stop the mods from slipping, and that way the mods will sit at an angle. So, last of the power tool jobs, off we go. as simple as that, we're done. So, what you'll be left with is an open fronted holder there. Clear away the tape. I have a stand at the front here which will hold everything in place. So mods will sit like that at a nice angle. I'll be back when I've cleaned up and glued the 3 posts in place. So I've glued it all together now, and there you have it. Not bad for a first try, I think. So you've got the mirrored base, you've got the little cutouts at the front to stop them sliding off, felt feet to stop it moving around. I just used a plastic weld to glue the 3 pieces in place, top and bottom. I've angled the top of this down forward slightly to enable it to hold on, and as you'll see, the mods fit in no problem at all, just a random selection, and it will even take a pipe. So, unless I tilt it backwards, of course. Oh, there you go, as long as it's stood upright, that's sitting there, no problem. And nicely displayed. Right, catch you all next week.
Right, so we're back in the room, and I've literally just trimmed down this battery compartment so I can see what so I can get the batteries in and out easier. I'm going to grab a multimeter in a bit. I'm just going to connect up the ATI connection, and like I say, I'm doing this outside of the mod purely because it's a damn sight easier than getting it all in a tin or box or whatever and realising the damn thing doesn't work. So I'm just connecting up my ATI connections now, and I need a new tip. There's one thing, if you're struggling with your soldering, it may well be down to the tip on your iron. This one's just been worked to death. That's why it's not playing ball that well today. Okay, so I've got a ATI connection on there now. What I want to do, let me just grab a meter, because I know these batteries aren't at full charge, but I just want to see what I should be expecting from the pack. So you'll be able to see this. I'll just meter out the battery pack. Oh, just one on the poles, one on the neg. This will give me a voltage of what's coming out of the pack. So I've got pretty much 8 volts coming out of that pack. So I'm around about sort of 4 volts of battery, which is sort of what I was expecting to be at. This is where we press the button and hope nothing goes bang. Shouldn't do. We've got it rigged up as we would normally have something like this rigged up. Let's just drop down a little bit on the bench so we can have a look. 28650 is coming in. Hit the button, and I've got 6.7, 6.6. It's fluctuating in between. I'm just going to try and see if I can either wind that up or down. Now, I'm going to have to use a little diddy old screwdriver for this. Well, I've got that on there. They appear to have dropped out. Oh, coming up. Oh, let me see if I can get something else. Different screwdriver. Seems to be, look, it's dropping right down to 3 volts there off the board. The adjustment on it is not that great looking at it. Try and take it up ever so slightly. And I'm jumping straight back at 6, which means this has got the minutest, tiniest of adjustment on it. Yeah, 6, 8 at the lower end of the scale, and it should be. Or am I going the wrong way? Nah, wind that all the way up. Why is that going the other way? 7 volts. It's all over the bloody place. Oh, what are we at there? 3.78. Doesn't seem to matter which way you turn this screw. And the slightest of knots is ever so slight. That's what we got there. 4. Finally managed to get a 4.16. Now the pot, first thing I'll say on the board, the pot is shot, which is a polite way of putting it. Now it's a very, very minute adjustment. Now theoretically you should be able to take an external pot off here, which we'll probably have a look at playing with, because that pot, the adjustment on it, as you could see, it didn't matter which way you turned the bloody screw, up or down. It was doing some weird funky stuff. Let's see, we've got a little sort of Kato here. We're at 4.16. Let's clag a standard Kato on the top and see what our drop off is. Not bad in terms of drop off. It's 4.14, between 4.14 and 4.16. And let's stick something on that I know it's got about 2 ohm resistance. There's less of a drop off there, 5.14. Let me just give the little K-Fun a go on this weird contraption. Now that vapes very well. So I've got 4.16, let me just take the ante off. 4.16. So with the K-Fun on it, at 2 ohm, there's hardly any drop off there at all. Hardly any. So bar the, sorry I was getting carried away then, bar the fiddly twiddly way of changing the voltage, it's actually not that bad. The chip is cool. Now this board is spec'd without a heatsink. It's spec'd at sort of anywhere between 2 to 3 amps. I reckon you can get 3 plus with a heatsink. I'll just chuck that on. I just want to see if it gets hot under use. Let's really push this, keep it on. That's just me Kato twizzling away. I've dropped back up again. Chip's as cool as a cucumber. Kato's still steaming away. Starting to spew his guts everywhere now. Still got that button pressed. I'm really impressed with the drop off on that. It's doing a very good job of regulating that voltage. Still got the button pressed, you can probably see vapour going everywhere. Batteries are as cool as a cucumber, as they should be. It's only just starting to get just ever so slightly warm. And I've obviously still got that. That's been pressed for a fair few. And that has been pretty rock solid, that voltage. And that is cool, that board. Well, what can I say? You can see the guts of the car there. I'm impressed, bar that little fiddly screw. But the one thing that once you've got your voltage set, and if you like vaping at a certain voltage, I believe this is one of those things you could stick that in a little tiny, treble A box or whatever, a double A sort of 4 battery scenario box. That's going to sit in there a treat, whereas you would struggle to get that in. Could we have actually found something that gives us a lot more possibilities, a lot more flexibility? Now, I took a punt on these and I ordered 10. I haven't got the PC booted up now. I'll find out the information of where these are available from, and I'll hopefully tell you that while I'm waffling at some point during the show. Impressed, bar that little adjuster, but like I say, I could probably live with that. I could live with that quite happily. You could probably tell from this is the first time I've put one of these together. I'll give it another go. I still can't believe that there was hardly any drop off on that. And we're back up 4.17. Stick the Kayfun on. 0.1. And I'm not going to fry the hell out of the Kayfun just to see how it works on there. So, impressed. That's all I can say. It's definitely worthwhile. It's worthwhile getting, worthwhile looking at. I'm sure quite a lot of you will potentially be looking at these. Does what it should, and it lives up to the specs that I've read. Does exactly the same as that one. This has got a far better pot on. Definitely want to see how difficult it's going to be to get the pot off of this to have a look. But as you can see, that little pot down in there is tiny, and even that screwdriver was too big for it. I had to go down to a little sort of a micro drivery type thing with a finer point on to get that. Enough waffling dibbly. Liking that a lot. Cracking little board. Got potential there for tubes and everything. Here we go. Yes, happy days. Back to me in the studio.
And we are back in the room. Mark's at his stand, absolutely fantastic. Looked the nuts. Looked really good. That little board, Mark has posted the link in the live chat now. 99 pence. The one thing that Jeff Benyon pointed out, I haven't tried it under a direct short. I will most definitely be doing that, and we'll report our findings as we go. Don't rush in and buy one. If you want to have a play with one, feel free. I mean, they are 99 pence a board. It cost me 10 quid to get, or £9.99 to get 10 of them delivered to my house within a couple of weeks. It is a I mean, I've been testing it since I made that, and I made that on Saturday, and I've been going back to it. It has not failed on me yet. Now, the one thing we do always say is, you know, that is my opinion of the board. It doesn't mean it is true. It doesn't mean that they are completely and utterly useless in certain scenarios. They have I believe I mentioned on there, a sort of top end of a 3 amp limit. Obviously, you wouldn't want to be pushing the hell out of them with sort of sub-ohm coils and things like that somebody did mention. You know, those boards have a place, and they are to build very, very sort of cheap, cost effective, nice little homemade VV jobbies. If you use something like, you know, a standard sort of Kato tank or a K-Fun, and you know, for 99 pence and an ATI connection and a battery pack, you know, you've got a mod for under a £5, and that is what we hope to try and do on this show. Show you what is possible. Like I say, be careful if you're using that. They're not fully tested. That was my first impressions of that board, and my first impressions are that they could be very usable. Like I say, need to test things like the direct short and all that scenario. It's time for me to wrap up. I've got a early start, not as early as the rest of the team, who will be setting off at about 4 o'clock in the morning for London. I'm lucky enough to have Lewis, who you remember was on this show, picking me up at sort of 7:30ish to get to town in time for 8:30. So I'll meet, first time, going to meet Mark tomorrow, and I'll take some toys for him. It has been emotional. Thank you very much for joining us once again. Don't forget all the shows that are coming up this week. I don't have time to list them all, because I'm going to get screamed at very, very shortly. And obviously RY4 Radio. Don't forget RY4. Thank you very much, guys. I will catch you next week. I hope it's been useful. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks very much. Good night.
Liberty Flight sponsors 10-Year Tip with Gary Dibley.